When the sun had no name, when the sand still burned like blood, mankind learned to fear what moved beneath the earth. In the vast, unforgiving desert, the Red Sand tribe clung to life around a small oasis. They hunted lizards and rationed every drop of water. Here, a young hunter named Kara was haunted by visions. He dreamt of the ground trembling, of deep guttural roars echoing from below. Dreaming of singing sands again, Kara, his friend Lyra, would tease. Not singing, Kara would reply, his gaze lost on the horizon. Something's alive down there. And then the rumbling would start. Not in a dream, but in the waking world, a deep, foreboding tremor that shook the very bones of the earth, a terrifying promise of what was to come. Night fell, and the tribe gathered for the sacred sun ritual, a prayer for survival. But their prayers were answered with violence. The ground didn't just tremble, it tore itself apart. Towers of sand erupted into the starless sky. From the chaos, a creature of nightmare burst forth, a colossal scorpion. The size of a hill, its shell forged from the desert itself. With one swipe of its massive claw, it crushed the stone idol of their god, shattering their faith in an instant. Panic ignited. Villagers were dragged screaming into swirling vortexes of sand, pulled down into the earth. "Everyone to the western caves now," shouted Rock, the tribe's chief and Kara's father. Amid the pandemonium, Kara grabbed Lyra, pulling her toward safety. But through the storm of sand and terror, he caught a glimpse of something in the heart of the beast, two glowing blue eyes. Skarn, the ancient god of wrath, had awakened. From the dry womb of the earth, it had risen again, bringing the fury of the desert with it. Huddled in the darkness of the caves, the survivors tended to their wounded, their spirits as broken as their bodies. Refusing to surrender, Kara and Lyra slipped away into the shadows of the cave. Seeking the wisdom of Elder Mago, the tribe's prophet. The old man's eyes held the weight of centuries. "Skarn is the son of the desert god," he whispered, his voice a dry rasp. "He slept for 1,000 years, until man disturbed his lair. He leaned closer. Only the blue flame can shatter his shell of sand." "The blue flame?" Lyra asked, her voice trembling. "That's a myth. It's said to exist only in the ash crater." Kara's jaw set with determination. "Then that's where we'll go, with nothing but spears, a few skins of water, and a sliver of hope." Kara and Lyra set out across the endless sea of sand. The desert tested them at every turn. They battled blinding sandstorms that tore at their skin, fought off mirages that toyed with their minds, and walked past the sun-bleached corpses of those who had failed before them. As they neared their destination, the ground began to crawl. A swarm of baby scorpions, each small but countless, erupted from the sand. Lyra's arrows flew true, while Kara's spear became a whirlwind of wood and steel, fighting back the tide of skittering death. Sometimes, to find the light, one must walk through their deepest fear. Finally, they reached the ash crater. A strange blue smoke rose from its depths, painting the air with an ethereal glow, using a sacred black stone Mago had given them. Lyra carefully captured the essence of the fire, creating a torch that pulsed with a brilliant, otherworldly blue light. They had their weapon. They returned to find their home under siege. The caves could not hold forever. Giant scorpions, Skarnspawn, were tearing through the tribe's final defenses. Rock rallied the few remaining warriors, their spears and arrows barely scratching the monster's armored hides. It was a hopeless fight. Then, two figures appeared on the ridge, silhouetted against the chaos. Kara and Lyra were back, and they brought with them a beacon of hope. "Father," Kara roared over the sounds of battle, "I'll end this nightmare." Rock turned, his face etched with pride and sorrow. "No, my son. We'll end it together." With a powerful war cry, Kara hurled the blue flame. The torch soared through the air and shattered against Skarn's colossal shell. The blue fire didn't just burn, it devoured. It spread like living water, consuming the layers of enchanted sand that formed the creature's armor. Skarn let out an ear-splitting screech, its massive tail thrashing wildly. In that moment of agony, Rock saw his chance. He charged forward, sacrificing himself to drive his spear deep into one of Skarn's glowing blue eyes. The beast recoiled in pain, its guard completely broken. This was the opening Kara needed. He leaped onto the monster's head, his own spear now wreathed in blue flame, and plunged it straight down into the creature's gaping mouth. A blinding blue explosion lit up the desert, silencing the world. The blue flame, the light of hope, had burned even the gods themselves. Silence, the sands were finally still. The war was over. Kara knelt beside his father's body, the weight of his victory and his loss crashing down on him. Lyra gently placed a hand on his shoulder. As the sun began to rise, its golden rays touched the desert floor, reflecting the last faint flicker of the blue fire. "We won't fear anymore," Kara said, his voice quiet but unbreakable. "From this day on, humankind will rule the desert." The world had changed. No gods remained over the sands, only those who rise and fight for life. Thank you so much for joining us on this epic journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. See you next time.